Everyone, welcome back to Limp-Cryptid. I can't thank you enough for tuning in today. Thank you. Yeah, see, I know you've all waited way too long for an episode. I know. But today I have a very, very important one to bring you. I have a few interviews. I have some witness statements, as well as a few video captures of military involvement, trail cams of UFOs. Just stay tuned. This is an episode you have to capture. This is Axel. I'm here to grind your gears, bash your noggins, and get all the skeptics here together, hopefully interested in the supernatural and paranormal. Again, it's your host, Axel, and I really, really, really hope you enjoy this episode. One request before we get started with it all, you guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please even leave a comment. That really, really helps me out. And if you want to hear more, see more, and have me be bigger, do some more, please do that all. Leave a comment, hit that like, hit that subscribe, even share. Helps everyone.
I remembered my camera, unlike many others before me. However, as you can see, my camera begins to glitch. The running theory is that military plane has some sort of camera jamming equipment, reported on many cryptid and UFO sightings as well. It's believed our government has this technology.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw that glitching, and it was like he couldn't get his phone up and running in time. He was telling me this. He's like, man, as soon as I hit my phone, it was like, it wouldn't open, it was running slow, but 30 seconds before that, it was perfectly fine. So, here's another example of, I think, the government having technology to jam and or block recording devices. I
Oh
think that
my
is something
God.
possible. Maybe it is something they're up to. I mean, it has to be clandestine, right? Like I said, UFO hotspot. Maybe it's not UFOs. Maybe it's just UAPs and they're government UAPs.
Whoa!
Hey, that's a strong possibility. Now, you may ask, how is it possible that I know that this is a current UFO hotspot?
Yes.
Well, there are a couple of things I can bring to your attention to prove this to you. Well, first off are these user submissions. I mean, if you want to believe these people, you can.
Yes?
If you don't want to, you don't have to. I don't believe everyone inherently wants to lie. I mean, maybe everyone wants to somewhat have their story told, but true encounters are hard to come by. And these true encounters with UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them, are getting more and more and more common.
Oh my
Now,
God!
I honestly think that's just because the government's getting more laxy-daisy and doesn't care anymore. I mean, let's be honest. Look at it. But, yeah. Let's say, I think that personally would make a ton of sense if it was. Since the 1940s and Roswell,
What?
we have been collecting, and manipulating alien technology to be in benefit of our own. I do believe our government has reverse engineered alien technology for its own benefit. Do I think that we are further in exploration in space than we're told? Oh yeah. The science books, our school books, everything would change if our governments would just tell us the truth. That's what I believe. So, in this next video, you will see a UAP trigger a trail camera. It's so bright and it's flashing, and then all of a sudden it vanishes. It goes, you can see it from where it's at to the very top of the screen for just a few seconds before it vanishes the second time and goes back to its original spot and flickers before it disappears. Check it out. I really don't know what to make of the trail cam video there, where that light's flickering. I've watched it over and over and over again. I think that is the only possible thing that could have triggered the trail cam. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, there's this big flashing pole light thing in the background that's flashing, but that goes off. He's like, that goes off all the time and it never triggers it. It's just on the camera every time it's triggered because it's just one of those lights that go off at night. It's a power. So it looks like it shoots up in the sky. Who knows? Maybe it's using new propulsion technology. Maybe it's a UFO. Maybe it's government aircraft. Maybe it's a space battle. Who knows? I'm going to be bringing you this encounter from a Mr. Zach. Now, he's pretty much, that's all he's willing to give out on where he's at or what he's doing. So, without further ado, I'd like to read you Zach's encounter.
Well, I guess I don't know where to start, but I want to tell y'all that at this point in time in my life, I wasn't exactly faithful. So I was hungover and woke up to a humming, kind of like a vibration in my body. So I look out the window, trying to figure out, well, what's going on. My exact first thought was maybe it was the bed. We were doing some crazy stuff last night. Maybe the vibration was from something there. But no, I continue to look out the window because there's humming out there. And I see 3 figures in the school's baseball field. Okay, well, it didn't trigger until I realized it was also Sunday morning. This was like the twilight hours, and you couldn't see really anything except for stuff in the sky. So I had to do a double take, actually a triple and quadruple take, because these figures were illuminated. And so as I'm looking at them, I see them shoot up. And my mind's kind of blown, but I'm extremely hungover. And I see a giant black triangle in the sky, just hovering there. Like I said, all I heard was this humming and vibration. Now, if I were to tell you this black triangle was as big as a city, that would be an exaggeration. However, if I were to tell you this black triangle was as big as a couple city blocks, that would be the honest to God truth. I see these 3 figures shoot up into this black triangle, and I'm kind of doing this quadruple take and I'm like, what's going on? I gotta look back at this lady I'm with, and look back, and I hear this poof. All of a sudden, the black triangle is gone. There's just a tiny hole in the clouds that it was above it, and I swear that thing shot to outer space faster than you could blink. This was December, I want to say maybe January, December of 24 or January of 25. It was a crazy hangover experience encounter day for me. I also want to thank you, Mr. Limp-Cryptid, for putting my encounter out there, because I haven't really told anybody. In fact, I'm glad you brought it up to me, because I've been holding this in for the last couple of months, and it's just like, who do I tell? I tried waking up that girl I was with, but, Well, she was pretty drunk still, so hey, what can I say? That's who I am. Anyways, again, Mr. Limp-Cryptid, I want to thank you for getting my encounter out there.
1 hour later.
Wow. Hey, Zach, thank you for that encounter. I know it was hard to communicate that one. It's a bit of a stretch when you don't have anything to show for it, but I know you said you've had multiple encounters. So, without, I'd like to pause actually. Sorry, you guys, about the background. For those of you who are parents, especially you fathers out there that rearrange rooms a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Back to the encounters. Zach, he had more than one. So he went to proceed to ask me, do you remember when we used to say sha na 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 la di da, just like that? No, he said, do you remember when the day was we were supposed to storm Area 51? Of course I remember that day. I think it will live in infamy because it's the day that proved that the government, especially police, are no longer on the people's side anymore. I mean, that's been like that for a long time. The people come first, not the government. That's how it should always be. But I'm digressing. And so he's like, I don't know why, we're on the complete north side of the country and, Area 51's on the complete south side of the country. But he said, that morning I woke up and I saw not one, not two, but three black triangles zooming by. These were complete different ones than the first one he saw. These were just your typical black triangle, 3 dots that are lights or whatever. And he said they were much, much faster. I said, Zach, man, hey, what do you have to show for this? Do you have any sort of proof, evidence? What's out there? He's like, well, don't you think it's funny that, anybody who has encounters has this mind thing in their brain where they just can't remember to take their phone out and take a picture or take a video. And, I have heard that before, but for people who have had these legitimate encounters multiple times, it becomes kind of like evident where it's like, hey, that trigger is no longer a blockage where we don't forget to take out our phones. So that kind of brings us into our second interview, I guess I'd have for you. He is completely 100% anonymous, no name, no location. I'm sorry for that. He is military and he just wants a few things out there. He says, yes, there is a base. We can't talk about nor in your northern state. It's completely secret. In fact, most states at least have one secret base. There's more than several government facilities within every state that military does get put into as well. I found that very interesting. So I want to thank him for bringing that information out to you guys. And I guess that brings us right into our next one. We're a group of cousins. We're at a family affair having a bonfire. They escape going to the northern side of the property, and they're looking at this northern part of the state that my military friend was discussing with me. And, they're stargazing, they're playing, they're building a fort, going back to stargazing, where this next encounter is over the span of about 45 seconds, where there's one star in particular that all of a sudden just starts moving. Well, you got one cousin suggesting it's a plane, the other one suggesting it's a really high up there helicopter. So they continue to watch this star in the sky as it starts to do a heartbeat thing in the air. Now, we don't have aircraft that can do that, and according to science that our government wants us to learn, that's not possible. We don't have that kind of technology. So, as they continue to watch this heartbeat, it goes boop, boop, and they hear a poof, and it goes, and it is gone. 100% vanished. No more heartbeat, no more star that they were watching. Plane, helicopter, whatever. Weird situation to be in. I mean, that trail cam footage at the beginning of my video kind of shows what looks like stars jumping around the sky. Very interesting. So, I want to thank you all for bringing me those encounters. I do have another video to show you. And he caught these, he captures a lot of military aircraft flying over this particular piece of air that is his property. Now, it's not near said base, he doesn't believe, and it's not near any, airfield that he's aware of. So why he's having these low flying military aircraft all the time, there's no reason for it. So let's check it out. Well, everyone, I only want to bring up that whole cloaking thing with the plane because I've heard that with 2 other accounts where all of a sudden what they saw as a flying saucer, they go to grab their camera, they turn back, and it's a biplane flying through the sky. Or the other guy that said, yep, I literally blinked and it went from this metal disc looking like thing in the sky, and I blinked, and the next time it was a helicopter. How do you explain that? Now, if there is cloaking technology, hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the government has been working with alien technology since the 1940s, and that's at least what we're pretty much aware of, because I truly think our government, if not all governments, have been in on it for a very long time.
2,000 years later.
And I don't really like this whole, we're kept in the dark, these are the higher ups, and, whatever. I don't like that idea. I think we need to kind of do something about it, but again, digressing. Everybody, I want to thank you for tuning into this episode of Limp-Cryptid. It has been completely an honor to be here with you. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, it's been fun to be here. But again, everybody, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Limp-Cryptid. I'm sorry it took so long. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and again, leave a comment, anything short, anything positive, please. It helps my channel out. It even helps all YouTubers that are into the strange, paranormal, and supernatural get more recognition. So thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and remember, you're loved. Bye.